am not married to Jim Jones. Listen, let me tell you guys something. This is the craziest viral that I've ever been in my whole entire life, because I like wake up one day, you know, I do my whole routine, read my devotionals and positive stuff, and then I go on my Instagram and I see like fake pages like, you know, you took Jim, and I'm like, I didn't block the page. I said, who is Jim? Because the bitch is single, so I'm like, who is Jim? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, what the hell is going on? And they just responded back with like laughing faces. I didn't think anything of it. I have been in my bag creating, from my getting ready, relaunching my website, creating for my businesses, taking care of my personal business, my kids. Like, I'm so off the radar, you know, and sometimes you get to a point in your life where, well, this is where I have been for the last few weeks, where God just kind of sat me quiet, you know?
Yet in the heart of a bustling metropolis where ambition frequently belies darker motives, a tale of love and peril unfolded. The streets echoed with the name of Jim Jones, a charismatic and powerful man, but beyond his alluring facade was a network of exploitation and control. Brook Bailey's career took off in the fashion world because of her remarkable appearance and unwavering dedication, securing the contracts she wanted and making notable runway appearances. But when everything in her life changed when she met Jim. At first, his strength and confidence captivated her, enticing them into a fast-paced affair that promised excitement and passion. As their relationship developed, Brook became enamored with Jim's way of life, which involved exposing her to influential circles, upscale parties, and private events. The attention and chances made her feel alive and eager, but as time went on, the sparkling surface began to crumble, revealing the darker side. Though Brook sometimes found herself justifying Jim's behavior because she believed that love could make everything better, she was quietly aware of a growing uneasiness, a hint that something was extremely wrong. Then, one fateful evening, Jim's son, a young man enmeshed in the anguish of his father's legacy, came into the picture. He'd seen the mayhem. The facts underneath Jim's fury were as erratic as his charm, enthralling moments of love that were soon followed by feelings of resentment and jealousy. He had witnessed the terrible toll that power took on those around them, but he had also been influenced by the attraction of power during his formative years. He knew the wickedness that lurked beyond Jim's charming smile, and the son carried the weight of knowing. Brook and Jim got into a particularly heated disagreement, and the son found her alone in a quiet corner of a lavish party. His voice shook as he spoke, "You must leave him," and his eyes were a mix of terror and urgency. Resolve in the event that you don't. He will wreck your life because he has the power to emotionally and mentally destroy people. He'll make you feel insignificant, friend. His words made Brook's heart accelerate and sent a shiver down her spine. His sincere eyes revealed the fragility of her situation and pierced her bluster. She had disregarded, although the danger whispers gave her confidence that she could manage Jim's unpredictable conduct. The gravity of his son's warning now hung over her like a menacing cloud competes for her concentration. As Brook agonized with her decision, the days became into weeks, and each moment she spent with Jim felt more oppressive. She began to feel as though the glitz and glamour she had previously relished were shackling her to a life she had forgotten. Despite her internal conflict, she was weakened by the constant reminders of Jim controlling her schedule, excluding her from friends, and deceiving her in the name of love. Convince herself that she could change, Brook finally lost it during an especially lavish party that was full of clinking glasses and laughs. She saw Jim captivate everyone in the room with his smile, but the longer she clung to that dream, the more she sensed the walls closing in on her. The warning from the sun continued to resound, urging her to acknowledge the reality that she had long disregarded. As their gazes met, she felt trapped between the man she thought she loved and the reality that choked her, and she inhaled deeply. When Brook discovered Jim in his office the next day, the atmosphere was tight with unspoken words, so she chose to confront him. Her voice was trembling, but she was determined to say, "I can't do this anymore," because she could not bear the menace that hovered over her any longer. This is control rather than affection. explosive. Brooks remained her ground because she knew from her own experiences that the authority he possessed was a facade. But Jim became furious when he saw she was serious and started to insult and threaten her in an effort to regain control. She was relieved of a burden as she walked away from Jim and his world, and his vulnerability was hidden behind a mask. Brooke was reclaiming her story and refusing to be a slave to someone else's plan, all set to write her own story. Brooke's story became a story of empowerment, a reminder that you have the strength to get up and come out of your darkest moments. Although the journey was not without its difficulties, every step she took strengthened her conviction that love should be uplifting rather than entangling. In the aftermath, her resolve was just as strong as the threat. Rekindling friendships, embracing her long-abandoned independence, and finding fresh confidence, Brooke plunged herself into her profession. In the shadows is where free is. Even though the light of self-discovery may linger, it shines stronger, illuminating the path to a future molded by her own choices in the heart of a bustling metropolis where ambition often hid darker intentions. A romantic and perilous tale unfolded. The streets echoed with the name of Jim Jones, a charismatic and powerful man, but beyond his alluring facade was a network of exploitation and control. Brook Bailey was a fashion industry rising star who was well known for her striking looks and fierce willpower. She had achieved success in her career, securing her sought contracts and high-profile catwalk roles, but meeting Jim transformed her life. She was initially intrigued by his strength and confidence, and as their relationship deepened, they were drawn into a fast-paced romance that promised passion and excitement. Brooke became charmed by Jim's lifestyle when he exposed her to lavish parties, exclusive events, and influential groups. She felt alive and aroused by the focus and the potential. As time went on, however, the glitzy exterior began to wear off, revealing the more sinister truths underneath Jim's inconsistent anger and charisma. Brooke would feel powerless and trapped as intimate moments of tenderness would swiftly devolve into jealousy and wrath. Since she believed that love could resolve any issues, she often found herself defending his behavior, but she also felt a rising uneasiness, a hunch that something was gravely wrong, and one tragic. Jim's son, a young guy entangled in the turmoil of his father's history, entered the scene that evening. Although power had influenced his early years, he had also witnessed the awful consequences it had on others, and he witnessed the turmoil in their family. The son was heavy with wisdom, and he knew the wickedness that lay beneath Jim's charming grin. The son found her alone in a quiet corner of a lavish party after a particularly violent disagreement between Brooke and Jim. His voice trembled with intensity as he spoke, his eyes a mix of fear and determination. "You need to leave him," he said, "because he knows how to break people emotionally and mentally and will make you feel like you're nothing if you don't." His words made Brooke's heart accelerate and sent a shiver down her spine. She had ignored the fragility of her situation, but his sincere glance pierced through her bluster. She was convinced by the whispers of danger that she could control Jim's erratic attitude, but now she felt the gravity of his son's warning hovering over her like a menacing cloud, demanding her attention. While Brooke battled her decision for weeks, every second she spent with Jim felt more oppressive. She was reminded of Jim's tyranny over her schedule, his isolation from her friends, and his manipulation of her under the pretense of love. The glitz and glamour she had once relished started to feel like chains binding her to a life she no longer recognized. Brooke attempted to tell herself that she could change Jim and that their relationship would be repaired by love, but the more she clung to that belief, the more she felt the walls closing in on her. She was often reminded to recognize the reality that she had long disregarded by the son's warning. It was during a particularly lavish party, with clinking glasses and laughter, that Brooke finally contacted her. The breaking point, she saw Jim's smile captivate the room and everyone around him, but as soon as their eyes met, she found herself caught between the man she thought she loved and the reality that was choking her.